Hello, my name is Dillon Forsyth. This is Will. We're good cop, bad cop movie reviews, and today we're reviewing Venom. Woo. Tell me what you feel like.
I've got a lot to say about this movie. As a huge comic nerd, as I push my glasses up, I have read almost the entirety of the beginning to the end of Venom's story, all the way from Eddie Brock getting the symbiote to the King in Black. If you know what that is, good job. But I really, really hate this movie. I hated it so much I didn't even watch the second one. And the second one has Carnage in it, and Carnage is cool. So this movie doesn't even get the fundamentals of Venom and Eddie Brock's story correct. It's almost like they didn't even look at the comics before they made the movie. It's like they opened up to a page of Venom, pointed at it, and Venom was making a joke, and they're like, well, I guess that's Venom. That's how Venom is. He's like Spider-Man, huh? But he's not. Venom is a very edgy, which some people don't like that, but he's a very edgy, dark, strange character. Yes, he makes jokes. Yes, he's strange. Yes, he is insane. But those are all due to things that have happened to Venom and things that are important to his story. They don't just happen. As at the beginning of the movie, Eddie Brock is, it's like the comics. That's a good thing that they did. It's he has a good life. He has the girl. He has the job. He's the #1 news guy. And then someday something happens. He does something he shouldn't, and it all gets taken away from him, and he's upset about it. Yeah, he's sad. His room's a mess, but in the comics, his room is not just a mess. His room is destroyed. He's upset. He's looking out his window. He's thinking about jumping. He goes to church one day and has a gun with him, and he doesn't know he's going to leave the church. And that's where he finds Venom, and Venom saves him. And that's how him and Eddie Brock are like, they're very tight throughout the entirety of the comics. So it's just really upsetting to watch them just jump onto each other and have their personalities clash in strange ways, and for Eddie to be joking with this weird alien thing that eats people, because, like, that's nuts. In the comics, he's not all, at the beginning, he's kind of freaking out about it, but then Venom kind of infects his brain. He's like, let's kill Spider-Man, and he gets evil for a while. There's just a lot of nonsense in the movie that I personally would not put into a Venom movie, and I would have to change it a lot for me to have the perspective I'd want for this.
Well, so I agree that the comics are obviously superior, but I feel like with what Sony had to make a good Venom movie without Spider-Man, they added all they could. They made it as good as it possibly could. Now, I don't like the villain in the movie.
Riot.
I don't know. I don't even remember what the symbiote's name is.
His name is Riot.
Riot. I thought you said Brian. I was
No.
like, what?
His name is Riot.
Venom. Brian.
No, so Riot in the comics is an offspring of Venom. And the way that their alien race works is, I don't know how it's eluding me right now, but there's an alien race of them, and they're technically a hive mind, but they're too far away from the planet, and so they're not a hive mind, blah, blah, blah. But, so, Venom has offsprings. Carnage is also an offspring of Venom. And every time that Venom has an offspring, it's stronger than him, technically.
Yeah.
Like, it comes out stronger. But they get around this in the comics by having Venom be smart, live long enough, So the way that they work is that when they get onto somebody, they take a little bit of their abilities. So the first person, Venom, this is after the universe resetted in Marvel. It's like the New 52 of Marvel. But, so Venom, the first guy that Venom ever attached to in the comics was Deadpool, and that's why he is nuts and crazy, and that's also why he's a good healing factor. So.
Okay. Seems like the movie changed a lot with the comics.
Yeah, it did.
But I still feel like with what they did and with what they changed, like they weren't trying to be super comic accurate, other than with the look of Venom and other symbiotes and stuff.
Recognizable marketing stuff.
Exactly. It's like the movie is literally like if you just sucked out the entire Marvel universe and Spider-Man, including, and just left Venom and the whole symbiote lore.
They essentially just took a character and made their own story with it, which I can respect. I do understand that it is technically a okay movie. I wouldn't call it a good movie by any right, but it's an okay movie on its own. And it's, without thinking about any of the comic stuff, I would sit down and watch it, but I just am too big of a fan of Venom to be able to watch it. And like, there's also other cool symbiote characters. There's Anti-Venom and Agent Venom, and I just don't know how they're gonna incorporate that, because the same thing that I was talking about with Eddie Brock, how he was depressed and not happy. The symbiotes have almost a track of helping put characters like Flash Thompson, who is Agent Venom. So Eddie Brock gets separated from Venom for a while, and SHIELD captures Venom, and they give him to Flash Thompson, who is a war veteran who has had both of his legs amputated due to something that happened in war. Venom goes onto him, Flash Thompson, and makes him a superhero again, and it helps Flash Thompson regain a sense of self instead of being a no-motivated, sad, upset man. And I'm just worried that they're gonna give Flash Thompson Agent Venom, and he's just like, I have guns now. This is sick. Pew, pew, pew. Like,
you know what?
I
don't.
Upsetting.
Yeah, I don't think they're even are gonna add Agent Venom.
Yeah.
Or Flash Thompson and all, because in order to do that, Flash Thompson himself is a very integral character with Spider-Man, and you can only go so far with you can deject Venom from Spider-Man. As impossible as that is, you can, and they did. With Agent Venom, like Flash Thompson was Peter Parker's bully. A part of his story is being Peter Parker's bully. So if you keep taking these characters away from Peter Parker, and then you finally, at some point in the future, add Spider-Man, what does Spider-Man have? He doesn't have any bullies. You took them all, and then you made him your own little different thing.
It's like Spider-Man comes out with no development. He becomes Spider-Man without his bully. Like, the only thing that he'd probably have is his uncle dying. So, like, it's like a lot of, where would Spider-Man go? What would happen? And I think that'd be a cool
they
idea.
explained it in Madam Web.
Oh, they do?
Yeah,
I haven't
it's
seen
horrible.
that movie.
No, it's horrible.
I imagine it is.
It was in like theaters for like 3 weeks.
I know, they took it out mad early. It was really funny. I laughed at it whenever it first came out. I went to the movies to watch something, but I pointed at the poster and made fun of it and laughed at it.
Yeah, because it's stupid.
Yeah, it is. But, well, we'll talk about a little bit of the story now, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because we should. Yeah.
So, Eddie Brock is sad. He meets a homeless girl. This homeless girl takes money to be scientisted on, and they give her Venom, and for whatever reason, this is not a thing, Venom is not compatible with her. Not a thing in the comics. So she dies due to being attached to Venom. This is Eddie Brock's friend, right? He's friends with this homeless girl. He feels bad for her. He gives her money sometimes for free. He doesn't want any of the papers. He's just a nice guy, right? He gives her the money. Later, he finds her Venom due to a byproduct, and because of the scientist, she crashes through the glass, is dead, and then Eddie Brock takes Venom. And then Venom's like, me and you are compatible. I won't kill you by being on you. And he's like, well, that's good. And then he like forgets about his dead friend. It's very upsetting.
Yeah, it's like
I don't like that scene.
That's kind of sad.
It's like he looks at her for like maybe 1 second and is sad about it. It's just upsetting.
Yeah, and then you have the whole side plot with the laboratory head, who's the villain, and it's showing him doing experiments and stuff, and then he's trying to find a symbiote compatible for him, right?
Yeah, and he finds Riot.
Yeah, who's that guy? Who's the actor? He was in like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, he was.
Jurassic World.
I can't think of it right now.
I don't know.
But yeah, he gets Riot, and then Riot comes and finds Venom, and Venom's like, oh shit. This one's mean. We gotta get out of here, Eddie. And he's like, why don't we just fight him? He's like, he's way stronger than me. And I didn't like that because Venom in the comics, again, I'm always gonna bring it back to the comics, but Venom will always fight. He'll try and like maybe he'll do a tactical retreat, but he's not really retreating. If anyone's ever watched Megamind, you know that scene where Megamind hides behind a building and hits the dude with the freaking pole? He's like, that's the oldest trick in the book. That's what Venom is. He does stuff like that. He's a trick. He tricks people. He overpowers them if he can. He does whatever he can to win. He's a dirty fighter. So him seeing that threat and then running away it writes him as a coward, and I don't like that.
No, me neither. And they play him like one in Carnage too.
That's
he literally says, "Oh shit."
That's not good.
Like, oh shit, and then he like disintegrates back into Eddie. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, see, they write him as like a silly little he's not how I envision him, I guess, because like maybe he would do that, and then Carnage would rush to kill Eddie, and then Venom would stab Carnage in the chest area because he approached him, but I don't know. It's their choices and stuff.
Yeah.
But when they start fighting, Riot is like, "You're a wimp. You left our home world. You know that you're not supposed to do that. We are always this, blah blah blah. We are we," which makes sense because they're a hive mind. But the reasoning that he's giving Venom doesn't make sense because if they're still attached to the hive mind, they are still the King in Black, and the King in Black is pretty much evil. So the King in Black wouldn't care about Venom. Essentially, you'd just be like, whatever. I have a bunch of. They're called Clintarians. Yeah, the Clintar, and I'm pretty sure, but. He just wouldn't care. So Riot coming down and being like a soldier Clintar doesn't make sense to me. He's like a Clintar that retrieves other Clintar. There's like a million plus.
Yeah.
There's like a billion. There's a lot of Clintar in the home world. There's flying ones. There are ones that are dragons. It's like this one that he can synthesize from other people. It is a rare trait, but there are ones that have that.
I'm sure, yeah. And what else in the movie? The whole thing with Eddie and Venom like bonding, like when he's in his house.
Yeah, they're friends.
And they're like friends and stuff. I like that. I like that.
I know a lot of people like that,
fun. It's
but
like a little.
I want you to imagine this with me. All right, this is how I would create it. They hate each other. Like Venom stays on Eddie because he has to, or he'll die, and Eddie keeps Venom because he'll die to the scientist people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because at that point he's a target of them. They don't care if he loses Venom or not. But eventually, throughout maybe like the whole movie, they become friends. But they become friends almost like, I don't know, within like half of the movie, they're buddies. And I dislike that. It's like a buddy cop movie. It's I don't want to say 21 Jump Street, but like they're like bouncing off each other in that kind of manner. Yeah.
It's Marvel's 21 Jump Street.
That's exactly what it is,
Yeah.
and it's upsetting. And I
I
dislike
like
that.
it. I think it's fun.
One thing that they did do, so whenever they give his wife Venom, that was cool. That was a reference to She-Venom, which is a thing in the comics. It's a lot darker in the comics, though. I'm not gonna go there in here, but it's pretty messed up. And they just kind of give it to her, and then he takes it back, and then she was like, "That was pretty cool." Now it's like, I can see why they made her say that, but it's just a lot different. Which I'm not gonna hark on that too much. But then at the end of the movie, he's like a vigilante.
Yeah, he's the lethal protector. There's a whole comic.
Yeah, I know.
about
That's
that, so
what
yeah. Lethal protector.
It's really funny because the first issue of Lethal Protector, he falls down a hole and he's in an underground city. That's the story of Lethal Protector.
Seriously?
So like that's the very first thing, and he goes through it and he gets out, and then he does the vigilante stuff. But
Okay.
that's pretty funny that it starts there in the comics and then it's completely different in the. He has to fight Riot. I don't know if the other ones are in that movie. I don't remember if Scream or any of the other ones are there.
I think Scream is in Carnage.
Is she?
Yeah, I think so. If I remember correctly.
See, another example of a version of Venom that they did completely differently, and it works for me at least. It doesn't work to my favorite Venom, which is the original. I don't think anything is going to do better than that. But in the Spider-Man and 2, the Insomniac game with Miles and Peter, where they gave Peter a weird face or whatever, Venom is in the second one. If you haven't played that one.
I completed all the way through Spider-Man
100% it did, bro.
100%.
Me too, bro.
Absolutely.
But so they find Venom in a meteor crash, and the lizard, whatever his name is,
Kurt Connors.
Yeah, Kurt Connors. He's messing with the symbiote to make it compatible with Harry, because Harry is dying. He has a sickness. He has the goblin sickness. But we don't know that yet. I'm pretty sure it's the goblin sickness. But they're messing with the symbiote to get it onto him, and it makes a lot more sense because they don't know what it is, and he gets infected with it, and he becomes evil, all that, blah, blah, blah. But
so
that's a better interpretation of it.
So, but still, I mean, the Spider-Man 2 interpretation of Venom's story and the Venom story of Venom, they're both completely different from the comics. Like in Spider-Man 2, it's not even Eddie Brock. He's not even in the game.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
That's cool. It's Harry Osborn. And then Harry Osborn's also Agent Venom. So it's Flash Thompson and Eddie Brock in the Harry.
Which I really liked. But back to the movie, you know, the end of the movie, he's holding that guy up and he's like the turd in the wind thing.
Yeah.
I actually hate that line, and I wish it was never in the movie. But, like, I tried to watch that whole movie with an open mind, and then the end of the movie where he says that, it just ruined it for me. I couldn't hold up my mental fortitude for it anymore. It's
I
just
don't
like,
know. I thought it was funny.
one thing I did like about that movie was Tom Hardy as
Yeah,
Eddie Brock.
Tom Hardy as Venom. If you like Tom Hardy as Venom, you'd like the second one because it's just Tom Hardy as Venom.
That's cool. But that's all we got to say about this movie. I ranted and he loved.
All right, in the next episode, we're going to cover Madam Web and why she had all those spiders in the jungle.